adhesive bandages, scissors, disposable gloves, pencil and paper, sterile gauze pads. You might recognize these items as part of a standard first aid kit, regardless of whether it's a kit assembled by a scout working on rank advancement, or merit badge, or one developed by the Boy Scouts of America during the Second World War, or a small red bag many troops carry today. The model of be prepared has always been found in the readiness and ability to give aid to self and others. Learn more about the first aid kits and Philmont First Aid in this edition of Artifact of the Week. First aid was the 8th of the first 57 merit badges created by the Boy Scouts of America, and throughout our history it remains an integral part of Scouting. In 2020, more than 31,000 Scouts earned the First Aid Merit Badge, a required merit badge for aspiring Eagle Scouts, and a prerequisite to a couple of other merit badges such as emergency preparedness. First aid skills are among the first requirements for a number of other merit badges, like cooking, hiking, woodwork, and wood carving. Through first aid training, Scouts learn about medical emergencies, how to respond to them, and obtain assistance for professional medical resources, and how to prevent medical emergencies in the first place. The first commercially available first aid kit was created by Johnson & Johnson in 1888. The first BSA branded first aid kit was issued in 1925. These kits included a small triangle bandage that could be fashioned to a sling, a compress, and 2 safety pins that were packaged into a simple cardboard container. In 1926, silent film star Fred Thompson, along with his equine partner Silver King, appeared in a photo shoot to demonstrate to Scout how to use these kits. Later, metal ones like the one you see here were issued by the BSA. These would include different kinds of bandages, burn cream, and other medical tools. Some could even be attached to belt loops to make them easier to carry on the trail. A Johnson & Johnson advertisement for these kits appeared in the March 1934 issue of the Scouting magazine, along with the tagline, "A Scout with a First Aid Kit is a better Scout." Nate Lay, Medical Service Director here at Philmont, tells us more about the first aid kits.
So first aid kits have been part of what we do for a long time, and first aid is one of the first Scout skills that anybody learns, and the kits are the equipment that we carry with us to be able to provide that. And they can go for anywhere from a small personal first aid kit up to massive expedition-sized first aid kits. Here at Philmont, we manage about 500 first aid kits throughout our system that we're having to constantly keep updated and that kind of stuff. And they range everything from very small crew kits for a small group going out on an adventure up to the massive kits that we keep in our backcountry camps. So your first aid kit is what you need. It's to take care of you. So you want to have things, you'll know what you need and what you care about. If you have a medical condition that requires different equipment, then absolutely you need to be including that into your first aid kit as well. But thinking about what you carry is so that someone can take care of you or that you can take care of yourself. Everyone should be carrying a small first aid kit that pertains to them, so that they don't necessarily have to go to the group first aid kit or to a camp or somewhere like that to try to find a Band-Aid or small wound care stuff. One thing that you really want to have, if you're going to have just a few items in your first aid kit, you want to have things to deal with small cuts and wounds. That's a big one. Blister care is always really important. There's a lot of things, though, that as you go through your first aid training, you get more training, you actually start to realize, I can improvise that. I don't need a lot of that. So I want to be able to stop bleeding. I want to be able to manage my minor wounds and do some splinting stuff. But a lot of the other pieces and parts of that, you can improvise the splints, you can do other things. So if I'm out by myself and I'm trying to cut weight, I'm going to carry just a few very small items, my personal medications, things to stop bleeding, stuff to clean a wound, and that's kind of going to be about it. Maybe some small over-the-counter medications.
Nate also shared with us his thoughts on first aid, particularly as it applies to treks and other high-adventure opportunities here at Philmont.
So our biggest things that we're going to see here at Philmont that crews need to be aware of, first off, are blisters. You're hiking out there, you're putting a lot of time on your feet that maybe you haven't prepared for. So bring in some good blister care, whether that's Moleskin, Second Skin, any of the commercial blister stuff is great. Blister care is important. And then lots of small nicks and cuts and things like that don't need sutures. being able to take care of that is important. The other big one, and there's not a lot you can put in your first aid kit for it, but there's a lot you can do to prevent it. We get a lot of GI stuff. So gastrointestinal, upset stomach, and a lot of that comes from hygiene. So washing your hands before you eat, using your hand sanitizer, man, that's more important than ever right now. But it can certainly ruin your trek if you're not doing that correctly, and it can potentially ruin other people in your crew's trek as well. So everyone on your crew needs to be really aware of hygiene and make sure that you're following all those rules for cleaning your dishes, washing your hands, and serving your food appropriately.
The last item sharing is currently on exhibit here at the museum. This kit is not a standard first aid kit that a scout would carry around on their person or even in their troop trailer. This first aid kit was developed as a decontamination kit for a gas attack during World War II. It was issued by the Nassau County Council of the BSA. Luckily, it was never needed and was later donated to the museum. Some of the contents were removed in recent years due to contamination issues, but otherwise it remains as it was when it was first issued, with the instructions on its usage. So, whether you're a Cub Scout, belong to a Scout BSA troop, or a venturing crew, or a Sea Scout ship, first aid is a life skill that not only is an important part of the program, but could help save someone's life. Now, that's all we have time for today. Please join us again as we showcase more artifacts and history from the National Scouting Museum, Philmont Scout Ranch.